welcome to Tech Talks, the People and Planet podcast. On this episode, I'm joined by Jonathan Hunt-Glassman, the CEO and co-founder of wellness company Oar Health. Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me, Lee.
Thanks for joining us. Really interested to learn more about the business and about yourself as well, and about how those two things combine. So this is all about private medication to drink essentially less alcohol. Tell us
Correct.
more. What's the problem that you guys solve with the company mission?
Well, there are 30 million people in the United States who have alcohol use disorder, and of course, it's a worldwide issue as well. Less than 10% of them get any sort of treatment, and less than 3% are prescribed any sort of medication that can help them drink less or quit, despite there being multiple safe, effective, approved medications. And so we're trying to close that adoption gap using the power of telemedicine to make it convenient and private to get started with a daily pill that can help people drink less or quit alcohol entirely.
Nice. So I guess the private thing really helps towards that stigma element to it as well, doesn't it? You know, people probably don't want to feel that they have to admit to this sort of problem. So that really gets around that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that alcohol misuse and all sorts of issues of addiction and behavioral health challenges have been stigmatized in our society over decades and decades, which can make it hard to know where to turn when one is ready to seek help and how one is going to be treated in different sorts of healthcare settings. So being able to start in the privacy of your own home, over the internet, and have a 100% online experience with a healthcare professional who's going to treat you with empathy and expertise is something that we think is a really important lever in helping more of those millions who know they should be drinking less, but aren't quite sure where the right place to start that journey is.
Yeah, okay. Really interesting. So tell us a little bit more about your background then. How did you arrive at founding Oar Health?
It's very much a passion project. Professionally, I spent my whole career in healthcare as a product manager, as a strategy consultant, in-house strategy at some of the largest healthcare companies in the world. In parallel to that, I struggled with alcohol misuse myself. Pretty much my entire adult life. What started as binge drinking in high school and college became a pattern of drinking to blackout in my 20s. And then as I saw peers start to put that sort of excessive alcohol use behind them, the opposite was happening for me. I was having multi-day binges and experiencing physical and mental health symptoms of withdrawal. So things were pretty rough. And I sought treatment in a lot of the places that first come to mind: Alcoholics Anonymous, individual psychotherapy, the emergency room. But what really was the turning point for me was connecting with a primary care physician who supported my goal of moderation rather than abstinence and suggested prescription medication as a tool in the toolkit. And those two things at that point in my life were nothing short of transformational for me. But it didn't take too much reflection or research to recognize that 15 years of searching for the right first step was too long, and that I was far from alone in needing help to get connected to a safe, effective approach.
Wow. Okay. So tell us a little bit more then. Unwrap the medication side of it then.
Yeah, so the recommended frontline medication for the treatment of alcohol use disorder is called naltrexone, and that's the medication that's most commonly prescribed by clinicians on the Oar Health platform. It works by cooling off the reward and pleasure that we feel when we drink. So alcohol may get less exciting, there may be less of a sense of euphoria, that drive to have a second and third and fourth and fifth drink may diminish. And so naltrexone's been proven to reduce days drinking, the number of drinks consumed when drinking, days heavy drinking, cravings for alcohol. and over time can help people, make dramatic changes in the quantity they consume and therefore reduce the harmful effects of alcohol in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So to be clear, this is not just about quitting altogether, is it?
Not
I mean, it
necessarily.
can be. Yeah, it can be if that person wants it to be. But in your case, it was about reducing it to a manageable level. So how does All Health work then? Talk us through the product. How does that work to solve the problem?
Well, it all starts at oarhealth.com, OAR health.com. We provide a lot of resources to help people understand what is alcohol use disorder, what is medication assisted treatment. These are not household terms.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, and then if people feel that medication might be a useful tool to them, they can connect with a clinician who is licensed in their state. They are asked to provide information about their alcohol use, their goals, their general medical history. And then the clinician puts together a treatment plan for them, which is likely to include recommendations of psychosocial support. And then, when appropriate, as it often is, a prescription for a medication like naltrexone or, in fact, naltrexone. And then at the member's option, they can either get that prescription filled at their local pharmacy, or what a lot of people opt for is fulfillment through one of our mail order partners, so that within a few days, the medication is arriving reliably, discreetly at their front door, and they can get started with this tool to drink less in the privacy of their own home.
And so how long does it actually take to start kicking in then? Do you have to go through a course, or is it just the first tablet? Is it a
It
tablet?
varies individual to individual.
Okay.
From a biological perspective, the first tablet is going to cross the blood-brain barrier and plug up receptors in the brain that are key to the reward pathways activated by alcohol. So there are certainly folks who notice a dramatic and positive difference from the very first dose. Given that we're in the realm of behavioral health, there is no magic pill. And
Yeah.
so there are others who find that the medication becomes more effective over time and more effective in combination with other supports, with changes they're making in their own life, their conscious effort to drink less, their conscious effort to start building new healthy habits that kind of replace that time of day when they were focused on alcohol. Overall, we see about 2/3 of our members meeting their goal to drink less or to quit, but there's no one size fits all time frame on getting there.
Okay. Interesting. And the business model at the moment, as it stands, I think we're potentially going to be talking about something different, but as it stands, it's a direct to consumer model.
That's right. So at this time, we don't accept insurance. Folks essentially pay out of pocket for their membership, which includes clinician visits, medication, access to resources, and a support group. Our members report that they're saving about $200 a month just from less alcohol. So Oar tends to pay for itself, even if you're just looking at that one metric, let alone all of the benefits of drinking less that are a lot harder to quantify.
Absolutely. And is this just US based at the moment?
We are US based. We serve 41 out of 50 states. So 9 more to go in the US and then worldwide. But it is important for listeners who are not US based to know that naltrexone is an approved medication in most countries. And so there are likely ways to get access to it either through a GP or through other telehealth solutions like ours.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm not sure why I should, but I would have expected that it would be a more mainstream drug based on the amount of people that have this challenge. Completely worldwide. And I know I'm from the UK, and I know the stats here are pretty wild. So it's crazy that sort of there hasn't been more press on this, I think, mainstream media and things like that.
It is kind of shocking. It is an untold story that we have safe, effective medications that can help people drink less. Part of the issue is that these medications have been generic since before direct-to-consumer pharma advertising was a thing. Okay. And their generic status is terrific in the sense that it makes them affordable. It's not so terrific in that there's no pharma company that has a multi-million-dollar incentive to make them household names.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. So talk to us a little bit more about the business then. It's you know, it's very rarely it's plain sailing with startup businesses. What challenges have you encountered? How have you overcome them?
Well, we had a big challenge over the last 6 months, which was a global shortage of naltrexone. Sometimes when you're working in, well, I've spent my whole career in healthcare, and one always makes this simplifying assumption that generic drugs are widely available at a low cost. And that is in fact, the generic supply chain, as we experienced, is more fragile than we sometimes realize. And so we went through a really tumultuous period where we, set the imperative of keeping medication in hand for all of our existing members. And in order to do that, had to make some really tough trade-offs, including stopping for a period of time our direct-to-consumer marketing, which is how people generally find us. Happy to report that we are now in the alleviating phase of the shortage. We've gotten to know some of the manufacturers and distributors of the medication and feel confident that we're going to be able to maintain medication in hand for not just our existing members, but the new folks who are finding us and are poised for growth with more durability in our supply chain. But that was a harrowing experience.
Yeah, tough one for sure. Good to see you come out the other side of that. What comes next? Anything exciting that you can share with the listeners?
Yeah, we are looking forward to a few things in the next 6 to 12 months. One is reaching more people through more channels. The whole reason we started this company is that gap between the millions with an alcohol use disorder and the small percentage who are getting safe, effective treatment. Number two is we've learned a lot over the experiences that we've had with 35,000 members about the nuances of using medication to drink less effectively. This is not quite as simple as, I don't know, a hair loss pill where you take it and you see results or you don't. There are some nuances both in the use of the medication and how it can be combined with other strategies and supports. And we think we have an opportunity to productize that knowledge such that we are guiding people reliably to the best use of the medication and therefore the best outcomes.
Fantastic, Jonathan. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I hope in 12 months' time or later on than that, then we can have a part 2 of this where you have worldwide coverage or certainly UK coverage as well, because I'm sure I know people that could use this as well, to be honest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for helping to get the word out.
Absolutely. Guys, this has been Jonathan Hunt-Glassman, CEO and co-founder of Oar Health. Thanks again.